business like show business, like no business I know. Everything about it is appealing, everything the traffic will allow.
Welcome back to the Filmic Debate. Peter Bradshaw here from The Guardian, and I want to begin with an email from a subscriber, Jeanne Dielman, 23 du Commerce, 1080 Bruxelles, Block H, and she says, Dear Pete, we have this week had the Oscars, and beforehand every critic and pundit making their predictions was splitting their picks into will win and should win. Is it true that one particular critic invented this distinction, who never gets the credit? Well, do you know what, Jeanne Dielman, 23 Quai du Commerce, 1080 Bruxelles, Block H? I'm embarrassed and uncomfortable that you unexpectedly brought that up. And you know what? I don't want to talk about it. Let's rise above it. My first film this week is the Oscar-winning Nomadland by Chloe Zhao.
No, I'm just going to take a little walk.
Okay.
Be back soon.
I actually vlogged about this last year when it premiered at the Toronto Film Festival. Since then, we've had the UK release of Zhao's debut feature, Songs My Brothers Taught Me, from 2015. And incidentally, how extraordinary to think that her filmmaking career in total is still only 6 years old. So we've had a chance to absorb more fully the artistry of this rather amazing filmmaker. Like our other films, it is a docu-fictional hybrid. Zhao folds non-professionals into an imagined storyline built around a cheerful, resourceful, middle-aged character played by Frances McDormand. She is Fern, a widow and former substitute teacher in Empire, Nevada, whose retirement plans are wrecked by the 2008 crash and is heartbreakingly forced into piling her possessions into a tatty camper van and heading off to take temporary work anywhere in the country she can find it, something she accepts with absolute lack of self-pity. This is about a phenomenon identified by journalist Jessica Bruder in her 2017 book, Nomadland, Surviving America in the 21st Century. American 60-somethings pauperised by the '08 crash who couldn't afford to retire and couldn't afford to work while maintaining a home.
You are one of those lucky people that can travel anywhere.
Yes, ma'am, I know.
And they sometimes call you nomads.
Nomadland has not been universally admired. Given that one of the jobs Fern gets is in an Amazon mega warehouse and Zhao was actually allowed to film in one, Nomadland has been attacked for failing to condemn Amazon's employment practices with sufficient stridency, for being poverty porn, and for being Steinbeck light. But Zhao, for my money, is doing something far subtler than any of this, with clear-eyed realism and without naivety of any sort, certainly not about Fern's poverty. Nomadland daringly suggests that, along with the hardship and the heartache, there is also serenity in this way of life, even a kind of late-life euphoria, as without the burdens of a house and possessions, you can have a glorious and very American freedom in the lost tradition of Emerson and Twain. But what happens if your van or your body shows signs of collapse?
I've met hundreds of people out here, and I don't ever say a final goodbye. Let's just say I'll see you down the road.
Sometimes Nomadland looks like a very, very sweet and positive version of Mad Max, a film about a post-apocalyptic America where the people riding around in vans and trucks are just hippie-ish souls who only want to help each other. Chloe Zhao may well have drawn some inspiration from movies like Barbara Loden's Wanda from 1970 or Terrence Malick's Days of Heaven from 1978 with its sunlit hardscrabble world. But she has such authorial originality, exceptional intelligence and style. There is real greatness in Chloe Zhao's filmmaking. Ever since the release of Cats, filmgoers and masochists have been wondering, can the universe ever be cruel enough to give us something else as bizarre as that? Well, hang on to your proverbial headgear, because this week sees the release of the heartwarming romantic drama Wild Mountain Thyme.
Welcome to Ireland. Once upon a time, there were two farms. The Muldoon farm, where Rosemary lived, And right down the road was my farm, where my son Anthony asked his lonely question of the stars.
Why did you make me so?
Rosemary Muldoon besotted with love.
There's these green fields, and there's us. Whatever that is, it holds me here.
When he says those things.
It's not normal.
I don't care.
You take after John Kelly, and that man was mad as the full moon. Drowned himself.
He fell in.
He had a rock tied to his neck.
Rosemary, we're known to each other quite a while now. Would you marry me?
Now, even if you charitably say, okay, it's supposed to be corny, it's supposed to be tongue-in-cheek, that doesn't make any difference to how staggeringly patronising and profoundly humourless this film is. There's a horrendous condescension in its American luxury tourist vision of Ireland. Two of its stars, Emily Blunt and Christopher Walken, both playing Irish people, engage in a colossal intergenerational battle for who can do the worst Irish accent. Their Brogoff makes this the King Kong versus Godzilla event of inauthentic Irish voices. It's supposed to be happening in the present day, but it might as well be happening in 1958. Emily Blunt plays Rosemary, a beautiful farmer's daughter in County Westmeath. She's in love with a bashful and boyish guy next door, Anthony, played by Jamie Dornan. Anthony's cantankerous old farmer dad, Tony, Christopher Walken, is threatening to disinherit his son and leave the land to his American nephew, played by John Hamm. Maybe Brendan O'Carroll, the guy who invented Mrs. Brown's Boys, can develop this for Netflix, taking over Emily Blunt's role. I want to finish with a very mad, zany, surreal film called Labyrinth of Cinema, the final film, in fact, from the veteran Japanese director Nobuhiko Obayashi, who died last year at the age of 82.
ここは海辺の映画館。戦争を知らない若者たちが映画の世界にタイムリープ。
私たち
移動演劇隊。戦争の犠牲となった桜隊の未来を変えろ。原爆？広島が危険なんじゃ。世界に平和を。武器を捨てま。
大切なのは想像力。
自分には人を殺せません。日本人か？人だ。生き延びろ。君を忘れない。大林信彦からあなたへ。
戦争なんかなくなる日まであなたの心の中に生きている永遠に
海辺の映画館キネマの玉手箱
Save the entertainment trope indeed. This is an epic blitz of pop culture hyperactivity from Nobuhiko Obayashi, a filmmaker who is both experimental and mainstream. A cinema in Onomichi, near Hiroshima, is playing an all-nighter of war movies, and three guys in the audience are so enraptured that they are magically transported through the screen and into the films. And from there we get a cavalcade of hells-a-poppin' craziness with loads of film references, some of which I got, some of which I didn't. But there's a rock bottom of seriousness here, and the film becomes a tragic comedy with the comedy removed. We arrive at the Second World War and see fanatical Japanese soldiers ordering thousands of civilians at Okinawa to commit suicide rather than submit to the Americans. And finally, our trio of anti-war, anti-heroes arrive in Hiroshima on August the 6th, 1945. The film discloses a belief that as the sole country to have experienced a nuclear strike, Japan has a terrifying and tragic exceptionalism. This awful truth is marked by a tonal cymbal clash, both acidly comic and desperately sad. That's it once again for the time being, so please read my book, The Films That Made Me, which is an edited selection of my essays and reviews for The Guardian. Please give this vlog a like and a share on social media, and please subscribe to this YouTube channel and leave a comment to say that you've subscribed. As ever, I want to sign off with another heartfelt thank you to the great Gareth Roy. See you next week.